from Buckingham Palace. His Majesty the King has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles and honours of Prince Andrew.
Can you hear it? That's the sound of Prince Andrew's time running out.
It's the scandal that's rocked the royal family to its core. Prince Andrew's relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Not metaphorically, not eventually. Right now, 90 days, 13 weeks, 2,160 hours. That's all that stands between Prince Andrew and the most humiliating relocation in modern royal history. But this isn't just about changing addresses. This is about the complete annihilation of a lifestyle, an identity, and a partnership that's defined royal dysfunction for nearly 3 decades. Picture this: a former prince, stripped of his military titles, his royal patronages, his dignity.
He will move in with 72 teddies. I'm of course talking about plain old Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
Frantically trying to figure out how to pack 72 teddy bears while his ex-wife of 28 years packs her own bags and heads in the complete opposite direction. Why? What could possibly cause such a spectacular rupture after nearly 3 decades of post-divorce cohabitation? 2 words: money. Gone. King Charles III has just dropped a financial guillotine that severed more than funding. It severed relationships, exposed decades of lies, and revealed the shocking truth about what really held Andrew and Fergie together all these years. Spoiler alert, it wasn't love, it wasn't friendship, it wasn't commitment to family. It was cold, hard cash. And now that the money tap has been turned off, watch how fast the happiest divorced couple in the world becomes the most bitter, furious, and desperate former couple in Britain. Are you ready for this? Because what I'm about to reveal will change everything you thought you knew about the York family. The mansion nobody wanted to leave. Royal Lodge isn't just a house. Let me paint you the picture of exactly what Andrew is losing, because understanding the magnitude of this eviction is crucial to understanding why he's absolutely livid. Imagine a property so grand, so luxurious, that it makes most millionaires' homes look like garden sheds. We're talking about a 30-room Georgian mansion, set in 98 acres of Windsor Great Park. 30 rooms. Let that marinate for a moment. This isn't an apartment. This isn't even a large house. This is essentially a palace, complete with a massive drawing room that could host a ball, multiple reception rooms for entertaining, a private chapel, staff quarters, immaculate gardens that require a full-time team, security infrastructure worth millions, and enough space for Andrew to dedicate an entire room to his teddy bear collection. The property was built in the 17th century and has housed various royals over the centuries. It's dripping with history, prestige, and the kind of old money elegance that new money can never quite replicate. And what did Andrew Windsor pay for this privilege? What did living in this Crown Estate jewel cost him annually? £1 British. I want you to think about that. While you're struggling with mortgage payments, rent increases, energy bills that would make your eyes water, Andrew was living in a £30 million mansion for the price of a Tesco meal deal. Actually, less than a meal deal. But the real insult? Taxpayers covered the actual costs. The maintenance alone runs over £400,000 per year. The heating bills for a property that size? Astronomical. The staff salaries, the groundskeeping, the repairs to a building several centuries old? All paid by you. Andrew signed a 75-year lease in 2004. A lease that essentially guaranteed him lifetime occupancy of this palace for virtually nothing. He thought he was set. He thought he'd won the lottery. He thought he'd spend the rest of his days arranging his teddy bears in various poses throughout his 30 rooms. He thought wrong. The teddy bear scandal that reveals everything. Before we go further, we need to address what might seem like a silly detail, but is actually profoundly revealing. The teddy bears. 72 stuffed animals. That's not a typo. That's not an exaggeration. According to multiple staff members who've worked at Royal Lodge, Prince Andrew maintains a collection of 72 teddy bears and stuffed toys throughout the mansion. And here's where it gets weird. They can't just be placed anywhere. Oh no. Andrew has a specific arrangement system for these bears. Each one has its designated spot. Staff were given strict instructions about placement. If a housemaid moved a bear during cleaning and didn't return it to the exact right position, Andrew would notice and demand correction. Think about that for a second. A 64-year-old man, a former Royal Navy officer who flew helicopters in the Falklands War, who represented Britain internationally, is micromanaging the positioning of stuffed animals. One former staff member, speaking anonymously, told reporters, "It was like caring for a giant child." He'd walk into rooms and check that teddy number 37 was still angled properly on the chaise lounge. It was bizarre, honestly unsettling. But these teddy bears represent something deeper than just odd behavior. They represent arrested development. They represent a man who never had to grow up, who never faced real consequences, who lived in such a bubble of privilege that maintaining childlike obsessions into late middle age seemed perfectly normal. They represent someone fundamentally disconnected from reality. And now? Now he has to pack all 72 of them, each in their specific boxes, each carefully wrapped, and move them to somewhere considerably smaller and considerably less impressive. The British press has had an absolute field day with this. The Sun's headline was perfection. Norfolk locals slam Andy. He will move in with 72 teddies. We can't bear him either. It's funny, it's mocking, and it captures exactly how the British public feels about Prince Andrew right now. Complete disdain mixed with dark humor. The King's calculated strike. Now let's talk about the man who orchestrated this entire situation, King Charles III. Charles is in an impossible position, and understanding his perspective is crucial to understanding why this played out the way it did. He's 75 years old, the oldest person ever to assume the British throne. He waited 7 decades to become king, longer than any heir in British history. He finally gets the crown, and what does he inherit alongside it? A family in complete chaos. His younger son Harry has defected to California and is lobbing grenades via Netflix documentaries and memoir bombshells. His brother Andrew is a scandal-plagued embarrassment associated with a convicted sex trafficker. The public is questioning the monarchy's relevance. Republican sentiment is growing. And oh, by the way, he's battling cancer. Cancer. While trying to run a monarchy. While dealing with family implosion. While being in his mid-70s. The pressure on Charles to take decisive action on the Andrew problem has been building for years. Not just from the public or the media, but from within his own family. Prince William, the future king, reportedly gave his father an ultimatum. According to multiple palace sources, William made it crystal clear, Andrew is toxic. We cannot be associated with him. He needs to go, or we'll distance ourselves from the entire situation. Think about that power play. The heir to the throne essentially threatening to create a rift unless action is taken. That's not a suggestion, that's a demand. Catherine, Princess of Wales, backed her husband completely. They drew a line in the sand. Andrew living next door to them at Windsor was unacceptable. His continued presence in a crown property was damaging to the monarchy's reputation. Something had to change. But Charles is Andrew's older brother. They grew up together. They share memories of their mother, Queen Elizabeth II, who loved Andrew deeply despite his flaws. Family loyalty is complicated, especially in royal circles, where public duty and private affection are constantly at war. So Charles moved slowly. Some would say too slowly. He tried negotiation first. He offered Andrew alternative accommodations years ago. Frogmore Cottage, the same property Harry and Meghan were evicted from, smaller, more manageable, less ostentatious. Andrew refused. Repeatedly. Why? Pride, ego, delusion. Andrew genuinely believed he'd done nothing wrong and therefore deserved to maintain his lifestyle. He thought if he just waited long enough, held out long enough, the scandal would fade, and everything would return to normal. He was spectacularly wrong. Charles finally had enough. But rather than simply evict his brother and face accusations of being heartless, Charles crafted something much more strategic. A financial settlement that provides for Andrew while simultaneously exposing everyone else's true motivations. Genius, really. Brutal, but genius. The settlement. Breaking down the numbers. Let's get into the specifics of what King Charles actually offered Andrew, because the details are crucial to understanding why this caused such an explosion. Andrew receives a one-time lump sum estimated between £250,000 and £500,000. This money is specifically designated to cover moving costs, including professional movers for 30 rooms of furniture and 72 teddy bears, initial setup costs at his new residence, any necessary furnishings or modifications to his new home, immediate transitional expenses. For most people, £500,000 would be life-changing. You could buy a nice house outright in most of Britain. You could retire comfortably. You could set yourself up for financial security. But for Andrew, this is barely enough to cover the move itself. His furniture is antique, his possessions are vast, his lifestyle expectations are astronomical. This money will be gone before he's even fully unpacked. Charles has also agreed to provide Andrew with an annual income, estimated between £100,000 and £200,000 per year for the foreseeable future. Again, for normal people, £200,000 annually is wealthy, very wealthy. But context matters. Andrew is accustomed to spending considerably more. His previous lifestyle at Royal Lodge, funded by taxpayers and royal coffers, was costing well over £500,000 annually when you factor in maintenance, staff, security, and personal expenses. So this stipend represents a massive downgrade. Andrew will have to budget. He'll have to make choices. He'll have to live within means for the first time in his life. But here's the most important detail, the clause that changed everything. The stipend comes with a critical condition. It is specifically designed to prevent Andrew from overspending. What does that actually mean? It means Charles, or more likely Charles's financial advisors, will be monitoring Andrew's spending. There will be oversight. There will be accountability. Andrew can't just blow through the money and come back asking for more. This is the financial equivalent of putting a grown man on an allowance. It's saying, I don't trust you to manage money responsibly, so I'm going to manage it for you. For someone who was born a prince, who flew helicopters in war, who once held significant military rank and royal position, this is utterly humiliating. This reduces Andrew from an independent adult to a dependent child. It strips him of financial autonomy and dignity. And most importantly for our story, this money is for Andrew only. Not one penny is designated for Sarah Ferguson. Not now. Not ever. And that's when everything exploded. Fergie's financial house of cards. To understand why Fergie's reaction to this financial arrangement was so extreme, so sudden, and so revealing, we need to understand just how dire her financial situation actually is. Sarah Ferguson has been playing financial Jenga for decades, pulling out pieces, hoping the tower doesn't collapse, and it's finally collapsing. Let's look at the evidence. First off is the Mayfair property disaster. In 2020, at the height of the pandemic property market, Fergie purchased a luxury apartment in Mayfair, one of the most exclusive postcodes in London, for approximately £5 million. Fast forward to 2024, and she's selling it. But here's the kicker, she's selling at a loss. In a property market that's been relatively stable, in an area where property values consistently rise, she's taking a loss. That only happens when you're desperate. When you need liquid cash immediately. When you can't afford to wait for the right buyer or the right price. This tells us Fergie is in serious financial trouble. The kind of trouble where you're willing to lose hundreds of thousands of pounds just to have access to cash now. Let's review Fergie's entrepreneurial attempts. Budgie the Helicopter books had some success in the 1990s, but the market moved on. She was also a Weight Watchers spokesperson, which ended after various weight fluctuations made the partnership awkward. She also worked in Hartmore LLC lifestyle company, which accumulated massive debts, declared bankruptcy in 2009, owing £200,000. Then there was the Duchess Discoveries product line, which failed to gain traction. And let's not forget the tea company partnerships, which had limited success and inconsistent income. And to crown it all, her speaking engagements, which is sporadic and not lucrative enough to maintain her lifestyle. For someone with every advantage, royal connections, instant name recognition, access to wealth and opportunity, this is a spectacular record of failure. Then there's the 2010 sting that revealed everything. Remember when Fergie was caught on camera by News of the World reporters pretending to be businessmen? That footage is damning. She's clearly had too much wine. She's talking about money like she's negotiating a drug deal. She's offering to open any door in exchange for £500,000. She discusses payment installments, cash transfers, the mechanics of selling access to her ex-husband. £500,000 when you can. To me, I can open any door you want. Look after me and he'll look after you. You'll get it back tenfold. This isn't a woman with principles. This is a woman who monetizes everything, who sees every relationship, every connection, every door as an opportunity for financial extraction. And she got caught. On camera. Saying the quiet part out loud. Understanding Fergie's financial desperation makes her 28-year arrangement with Andrew suddenly crystal clear. She wasn't staying with her ex-husband out of love or friendship or any romantic notion of commitment. She was staying because of free housing, royal access, commercial opportunities, and security. Andrew needed someone to manage his household, provide companionship, and maintain some semblance of normalcy. Fergie needed somewhere to live and maintain her lifestyle. It was a transaction, a business arrangement, nothing more. And the moment that arrangement became unprofitable, she was out. The announcement that shocked royal watchers. When the Times of London broke the story, the headline said it all. Andrew quits, fight after losing loyalty of ex-wife. But it was the details in the article that truly shocked royal observers. According to the report, Sarah Ferguson has informed family members that she will not be moving to Sandringham with Andrew. She is making her own plans to move on with her life. After 28 years of divorce in name-only cohabitation, after defending Andrew through the Epstein scandal, the BBC interview disaster, the Virginia Giuffre settlement, the stripping of his titles, after all of that, she's leaving now. What changed? The money. That's literally the only thing that changed. When Andrew had royal status, connections, and prospects, Fergie stayed. When he fell from grace but maintained his mansion and lifestyle, she stayed. But when King Charles made it clear the gravy train was stopping, that there would be no continued funding for royal hangers-on, that Andrew's stipend was for Andrew alone, Fergie couldn't pack fast enough. One palace insider, speaking anonymously to the Daily Mail, said, "Sarah has always been financially motivated. We knew that. But we thought she at least had some genuine affection for Andrew. This has proven that wrong. The moment the money dried up, she was gone. It's remarkably cold. Another source close to the York family was even more blunt. She's a gold digger. We've known it for decades. She's just been very good at hiding it behind this "we're best friends" facade. But strip away the finances, and you see her true nature. She's abandoning him when he needs support most. The daughter's caught in the devastation. If there are any real victims in this sordid tale, it's Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. These two women have found themselves caught in the crossfire of their parents' spectacular implosion, and according to multiple sources, they're devastated, particularly by their mother's behavior. Rebecca English, the royal editor for the Daily Mail and one of the most connected royal journalists in Britain, dropped a bombshell in her reporting. The princesses are more disappointed in their mother than their father. Listen to that again. More disappointed in their mother than their father. Their father is the one associated with Jeffrey Epstein. Their father is the one who paid millions in a settlement. Their father is the one who brought shame on the family name. Their father is the one being evicted from his home. Yet they're more upset with Sarah. Why? Because with Andrew, they knew what they were getting. He's been failing publicly for years. He's made terrible decisions, associated with terrible people, and brought scandal upon scandal. It's awful, but it's not surprising. But their mother? She was supposed to be different. The tripod that collapsed. For years, Sarah, Beatrice, and Eugenie referred to themselves as the tripod. 3 legs supporting each other, unbreakable, inseparable. It was their special term, their bond, their identity as a family unit. A tripod is a perfect metaphor. It requires all 3 legs to function. Remove one leg, and the entire structure collapses. Sarah has removed herself. And now, Beatrice and Eugenie are watching the entire structure of their family crumble. One friend of the princesses revealed to the Telegraph they feel betrayed. Their entire lives, their mother preached about loyalty, about family coming first, about standing by the people you love no matter what. And now, when their father is at his lowest point, when he actually needs that support, she's always talked about, she walks away. They see her for what she is now, and it's devastating. Imagine being Beatrice or Eugenie and suddenly realizing that your entire childhood might have been a performance. Every time Mummy talked about loyalty, was she lying? Every time she said family comes first, did she mean it? Every time she played the devoted ex-wife, was it all an act? The answer, painfully, appears to be yes. And that kind of betrayal, discovering your parent is not who you thought they were, cuts deeper than any scandal your other parent might have been involved in. At least Andrew's failures were public. At least they knew what he was. But discovering that your mother is fundamentally motivated by money and status rather than love and loyalty, that's the kind of betrayal that reshapes your entire understanding of your childhood. Sources say Beatrice and Eugenie are furious with their mother for several specific reasons. First of, the timing. Abandoning Andrew when he's at his lowest is cruel beyond measure. Another angle is the exposure. Her departure makes it obvious to everyone that the relationship was transactional. Also, the impact on them. Her actions reflect poorly on the entire York family, including them. Then, there's the hypocrisy. Years of preaching values she clearly doesn't hold. And finally, the financial reality. They're realizing their mother may approach them next for money. That last point is crucial. If Fergie is broke and Andrew can't support her, who's she going to turn to? Her daughters. Beatrice married into wealth. Her husband, Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi, comes from a successful property development family. Eugenie's husband, Jack Brooksbank, works in finance and the alcohol industry. Both couples have resources. The princesses are likely realizing that their mother's next move might be knocking on their door, hand extended, asking for financial support, and that puts them in an impossible position. The Norfolk exile, where Andrew is headed. So where exactly is Prince Andrew going? What does his post-Royal Lodge life actually look like? Sandringham Estate, the King's private property in Norfolk, about 110 miles north of London. It's a 20,000-acre estate where the royal family traditionally gathers for Christmas, where Queen Elizabeth II spent much of her private time, where the royals go for relaxation and privacy. Sounds nice, right? It is. That's part of what makes this whole situation so frustrating for those seeking real accountability. Andrew will be housed in one of the properties on the Sandringham estate. Not the main house, that's reserved for the king. Most likely one of the larger cottages or smaller houses on the property. Still nice. Still considerably more luxurious than what most people will ever experience. But here's the reality. It's not Royal Lodge. Royal Lodge was 30 rooms on 98 acres right in Windsor Great Park, the heart of royal territory, close to Windsor Castle and the center of royal life. It was prestige. It was location. It was a statement of importance. Norfolk? Norfolk is exile. It's being sent away. It's being removed from the center of power and influence. It's being told, you can't be trusted near the main action anymore. If Andrew thought moving to Norfolk would give him a fresh start, he's in for a rude awakening. Local residents have been vocal about their feelings, and they're not welcoming. One Norfolk resident told reporters, "We don't want him here either. He is a horrible man. Why should we have to have him in our community?" Others have been even more blunt. "He's not welcome. He's an embarrassment to Britain. And now he's going to be our neighbor? No, thank you." The local paper ran an opinion piece titled, "Norfolk doesn't want Andrew either," which pretty much says it all. From Windsor to Norfolk, from London to the countryside, from major papers to local publications, the message is consistent. Nobody wants Prince Andrew. He's become Britain's most unwanted man, and no amount of money, no royal connections, no historic titles, which he's lost anyway, can change that. The real consequences: justice denied. Here's where we need to address the elephant in the room. Are these real consequences? Is this actually justice? Andrew is losing his mansion. He's being relocated. He's on a financial allowance. He's been publicly humiliated. He's lost his titles and his standing. But is that enough? Let's review what he's been accused of and what happened. The Epstein connection, with multiple photos showing Andrew with Jeffrey Epstein, one of the most notorious sex traffickers in modern history. Then there's the Virginia Giuffre allegations. And if we know anything about Virginia Giuffre, formerly Virginia Roberts, it's that she accused Andrew of having wrong intimate acts with her when she was just 17 years old. And if that's not all, Andrew's response was more sickening. He gave a disastrous BBC interview where he claimed he couldn't sweat due to a medical condition from the Falklands War. He also claimed he was at Pizza Express in Woking at the time of one alleged assault, and that he had no memory of meeting Virginia despite photographic evidence. Rather than face deposition and trial, Andrew paid an estimated £12 million to Virginia Giuffre. And funny enough, the settlement included no admission of guilt. Till date, the U.S. government wants Andrew to testify about Epstein, but typical Andrew has refused to cooperate with U.S. authorities. So when you look at all of this, when you review the allegations and his responses and the settlement, and his continued refusal to cooperate with investigations, is moving to a smaller, but still nice house on a royal estate, really an adequate consequence? Virginia Giuffre's legal team certainly doesn't think so. They've been vocal about wanting Andrew to answer questions under oath, to explain in detail his relationship with Epstein, to provide testimony that could help other victims. Andrew has refused. and he'll continue to refuse as long as he stays in the UK. The diplomatic nightmare nobody's talking about. Here's a wrinkle in this story that hasn't gotten enough attention. Peter Mandelson. Mandelson is the newly appointed British ambassador to the United States. He's a powerful political figure, a close ally of King Charles, someone with significant influence in government circles. He also has his own connections to Jeffrey Epstein. There are photographs of Mandelson with Epstein. There are questions about their relationship that have never been fully answered. And it was Mandelson who pushed for Andrew to become a British trade envoy despite concerns about Andrew's judgment. So, now you have a situation where the US government wants to question Andrew about Epstein. The British ambassador to the US also has Epstein connections, and that same ambassador previously advocated for Andrew's appointment to an official government role. It's a diplomatic mess. It creates conflicts of interest. It makes the British government look like they're protecting someone who should be answering questions. And it means that pressure on Andrew to testify isn't going away. The questions aren't going to stop. The investigation continues. Every day that Andrew refuses to cooperate, he looks more guilty. Every day he hides behind his royal connections and UK residency, the stain on the monarchy grows darker. The monarchy's existential crisis. This scandal isn't happening in isolation. It's part of a broader crisis facing the British monarchy, and whether the institution survives in its current form might depend on how it handles situations like this. Public polling reveals some fascinating contradictions. On one hand, around 60 to 65% of people still back the monarchy as an institution. King Charles enjoys moderate personal approval, and Prince William and Catherine score over 70%. Thanks largely to the pageantry and tradition that surround royal events. On the flip side, many are turned off by royals who draw salaries yet appear to do little, scandals that go unpunished, a sense of entitlement without responsibility, and any hint that the family exploits their status for personal profit. Andrew represents everything people hate about the monarchy. He's the poster child for royal privilege without purpose. He's living proof that the system protects its own even when they don't deserve protection. And that's why this eviction, this financial cutting off, matters beyond just Andrew. It's King Charles saying, "We cannot continue like this. We have to change. We have to show that actions have consequences, even for royals." Is he doing enough? Probably not, but it's more than has been done before. Groups advocating for the abolition of the monarchy, commonly referred to in Britain as Republicans, are having a field day with this scandal. They contend that it exposes deep-seated corruption, shows royal privilege shielding criminals, and underscores why the institution itself should be dismantled in favor of a republic with an elected head of state. Articles in left-wing publications like The New Statesman are making these arguments regularly. And while they haven't persuaded the majority, they're gaining traction among younger Britons who are more skeptical of inherited privilege. The monarchy's response to the Andrew situation will either strengthen or weaken the Republican cause. Handle it decisively, and you show the institution can evolve. Handle it weakly, and you prove the Republicans' point. There's a growing belief among royal watchers that the monarchy's survival depends on William and Catherine. They embody everything Prince Andrew seems to lack. They work tirelessly at their royal duties, keep their lives scandal-free, the unproven Rose Hanbury rumors notwithstanding, and genuinely connect with ordinary people. They also use their platform for authentic charitable work, raise their children with a sense of normalcy, and show a clear grasp of modern Britain. William taking his stand against Andrew, making clear he wouldn't tolerate him at Royal Lodge, shows the kind of leadership the monarchy needs. There's increasing speculation that Charles should consider abdicating within a few years. Not immediately, but soon. He's 77, battling cancer, dealing with family chaos. Would it be better for the institution if William took over sooner? William as king would represent a clean break, a new generation, a fresh start unburdened by the scandals of his father's generation and uncle's disgrace. But would Charles give up the crown he waited 73 years to wear? That's the question. The explosion continues. We return now to our central question. Why did King Charles's spending cuts cause such an explosion? Because they exposed the truth. They pulled back the curtain. They revealed that the York family's unity was built on financial foundations, not emotional ones. Andrew and Fergie are furious, not because they're being treated unfairly, but because they're finally facing consequences. Because the privilege they took for granted for decades is being withdrawn. Because reality is intruding on their fantasy. Andrew is furious because his comfortable life is slipping away. He's being publicly humiliated, put on a financial leash like a child, and forced to leave his beloved royal lodge and his 72 teddy bears, all while everyone watches his downfall. Fergie is furious because the money tap has been turned off, forcing her to face financial reality. Her decades-long grift has been exposed, her daughters now see her true nature, and she must actually work to support herself moving forward. But as I said before, nobody cares about their fury. They had every advantage, every privilege, every opportunity, and they squandered it all through bad behavior, poor judgment, and pure entitlement. The only people who deserve sympathy in this story are Beatrice and Eugenie, two women who've done nothing wrong but carry the burden of their parents' failures. As for Andrew and Fergie, they're getting exactly what they deserve. Maybe not full justice. Andrew should be answering questions under oath about Epstein, but it's more accountability than they've faced before. 3 months until Andrew has to leave Royal Lodge. 3 months until he packs up his ridiculous teddy bear collection and moves to Norfolk exile. 3 months until a chapter in royal history closes forever. And Fergie? She's already gone, already looking for her next opportunity, already proving that everything she said about loyalty and family was a lie. The explosion isn't over. The fallout will continue. The York family will never be the same. And the British monarchy? It's at a crossroads. Handle this well, and maybe, just maybe, the institution survives into the next generation. Handle it poorly, and this could be the beginning of the end. What do you think? Is the king being too soft on Andrew? Should Fergie be getting any support? Will Beatrice and Eugenie ever forgive their mother? And most importantly, should Andrew be forced to testify in the United States about his relationship with Epstein? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This is a conversation Britain needs to have. Share this video with everyone who needs to understand what's really happening behind palace walls. The truth is darker than you think. The money trail reveals everything, and the future of the monarchy might depend on how this story ends. Subscribe for more royal truth bombs, because someone needs to tell you what the palace doesn't want you to know.